took some time off, like 4 years, to do some other crazy things. And I am back. I know, right? I definitely miss creating content. I definitely miss sharing all the shopping that I do because that has not stopped. A lot of things I was doing definitely kept on. I just kind of stopped recording it. I don't know. I think, even after watching other YouTubers and other people that I see create content, some folks take a break. Maybe not so long as me, but oh well. I'm doing it mostly because this is what I enjoy and this is what I'll do. So now that we caught up a little bit, I wanted to talk about buying a house. So I bought a house. Welcome to my home. We are downstairs in said house, and it's been a minute, so I did want to share the process that I went through to buy said house. So stay tuned, keep watching, and we'll talk through all the steps that I took to buy a house in less than 30 days. All right, a little bit of backstory. So I got really tired of my apartment. I was really dead set into my apartment living. I was cool, but it just felt cramped. It was me, the boys, the dog, and my neighbors. Everything that my neighbors did, I could hear, and everything that we did, they could hear. And I just got over it. I got over the stairs. Got over all of it. And there were some changes happening in the apartment complex that I didn't really agree with. Plus some things that had changed over COVID. And I understand things had to change over quarantine, but I don't think they adapted as well as they could have. So I was already at my wit's end with them. And so I was just fed up one day right before Halloween. I was like, I'm gonna just buy a house because this is stupid. And I had recently opened a Navy Federal account with Navy Federal, for my business. And I was trickling some money over into the personal account that you had to have. So I just jumped on for shits and giggles. It's I'm gonna see what it takes. I had been previously working with someone who was a realtor and preparing myself to buy a house, and I had a thought and an idea of what I thought I wanted in a home. So we had been working towards that. So I reached out to her and I didn't get a response. So I reached out to a girl I know from high school, and I know she was kind of new to realty, and I'm jumping in there, and I always got to support my girls. We have always had a good relationship. And I trust her. Like I said, this is someone I know from high school. She's done other endeavors, and she ain't let me down. I'm a support. So when she was doing something else, I supported that. So I was like, well, let me hit her up. So from there, I kind of just waited. These are all my thoughts. And I took the time to do the application on Navy Federal. Again, just thinking, not even really knowing a lot about the, state of realty or real estate or buying a home. I didn't really know, a lot. I knew what it took to kind of prepare myself, but not really in any details. So I did the application, Navy Federal, and a couple of hours later, the lady called and was like, this is the amount that you requested. Are you sure this is the amount? This, could be your potential payment, within this range. If you, borrowed this amount, would you like to proceed, pretty much? And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. I was kind of, I wouldn't say surprised, but you work all your life to, or at least worked, my life, adult life, to prepare myself to buy a home, to do something a little more permanent, and here we go. So she went off, and then a few hours later, by the end of the day, I had a pre-qualification letter. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna do it. All right, so I get the pre-qualification letter. Then, like I said, I went back to my regular realtor, the girl that I was working with before, and I didn't get a response. So I was like, but now I'm antsy as I have this letter that, says I can buy a house. So I'm kind of ready to look. I had been looking at some things overnight and I was like, oh, save my things on Zillow, save all the houses that I want. And I didn't get a response from her. So I reached out to the girl from high school. And she was like, oh, cool. Here's I'm gonna send you like some preliminary things, based on, the questionnaire I had to fill out or whatever. And, I had sent her some things that I had seen as well. I was like, oh, okay, like this is kind of what I'm looking for. I was looking for something, or thought I was looking for something a little older, that had basement space, that had other space around the house to do, non-bedroom things. Of course, we needed bedrooms for myself, the kids, but really thinking of like outdoor space and, other flexible spaces that we could use for entertaining or sleeping or whatever long-term plans we may have with the house. So knowing those things, she kind of took a different route with it. And we went to look at some houses. I didn't want to live in the city that I lived in. I was kind of over it. I've lived in Greensboro for about 18 years on and off, for the most part, maybe 20 years on and off. I've lived in Florida and Mississippi and Missouri, and you always kind of come back to North Carolina. But I really was like, I really want to get, kind of back to the outskirts, the longer, slower traffic type commute, where like the biggest risk is deer on the road versus, bumper to bumper traffic. So I was looking at, again, some older houses in another town, and we went and looked, and I was like, she said, well, I got something around the corner that I think you might like. So we turn in and it's a development. I'm like, hell no. I told you from the jump, I didn't want to be in a development. I didn't want to be, neighbor to neighbor. I didn't want to, have an HOA. I didn't want to do any of these things. So she goes on to explain, not only things about the house, but, some risk you run with older homes, like lead paint or lead in the pipes, or different things as far as the location, because it was on a main street. You have to worry about eminent domain if they do any type of waterworks or city plumbing in your area. You're probably going to be impacted. If they decide to put a sidewalk there, you're going to lose some yard. So I said, okay, let's just go look at the house. We pull into the development and it's a roundabout, and I have a thing about roundabouts. Like, I low-key love roundabouts, but nobody can drive in them, so they can get on my damn nerves. So whatever, we go around the roundabout, and the houses, they're nice. They're nice. And they're not on top of each other like I was really worried about. It's probably 25 to 30 feet between the two, or, between the houses, rather than like house and house and house and house. And there's just like a little green tank in between, that someone's going to argue about mowing around. But, so we're pulling around the neighborhood. I'm like, this is really, really, really nice. Really, really nice. And it put me into a mindset of something I wasn't really expecting. So I do want to talk a little bit about why it's important to get a realtor. And I would say get a realtor from the jump. Don't try to tackle Zillow or look online for a whole bunch of houses, because that to me was really nerve-wracking. And it was a huge reason I hadn't bought a house, because it was just too overwhelming. So I sat down, I did the questionnaire she had, and then we kind of talked and was like, this is what I want. This is what I need out of a home. And she took the things that I needed versus what I thought I saw that I needed. And she really provided that. So I am going to always say, get a realtor, save yourself the headache. They're skilled in all of the things. They know how, make sure that the pricing, like the comps and all this other stuff that, like, I didn't want to learn all that shit. I'm not a real estate agent. Like, I don't know, whatever. So, to take the headache out of it, to take the problem, the pain and the stress out of it, get a realtor. You know what I mean? Because really, it's so much money. I mean, it was whatever. Okay, pay whatever, because whatever. So, got a realtor. And again, so mind you, I didn't want a development, didn't want a HOA, whatever. So we pull up, and I pull up to the house, and I'm like, it's cute. It's cute. We walk in, and it's open floor plan. I was like, this is really nice. And I'm a little picky about weird things. So I don't like to walk into a house and see stairs. That drives me crazy. Growing up, my grandparents, as soon as you open the door, the stairs were right there. Get the hell out of the damn door. Why are you right here? Hi, I'm upstairs. Get out of the way. Why are you right here? People shouldn't know that you're upstairs. I don't know. It's like seeing underwear. Like, don't see my upstairs. But you know, that's where we go live and sleep. I don't know. I think it should be tucked away, like a hidden space, you know, I don't know. So I just don't like to see stairs. And so, but I do like to entertain. I like to have space. And again, we walked in the door, and it was just open straight across, as you can see. That's the living room. And then the dining room in between the pillars, obviously right here. And then here I am on the island in the kitchen. And then the kitchen is behind me. And we'll do a tour of the house. Don't even bother yourselves about listening to me pointing to where they are. But it really checked off all the things that I needed. Something that was important to me was extra space. So we have older parents, and at some point we'll have to take care of those parents. So I wanted to make sure we had a space to do that in. If we had to, you know, modify one of the rooms, we had to modify the loft area or the den that's downstairs to accommodate our mothers coming here, or even my father, or, you know, whatever, you know, need we would have to have extra space to make sure that someone, you know, could lay their head and be safe and sound with us if they needed to. So that was really important for me. And for in my head, I had only seen that or envisioned that in older houses. And then there was another point where I had to realize, like, you deserve a new house. Like, you deserve you know, something up to date that you don't have to worry with. The things that I've been worried about in buying a home previously that kind of deterred me from buying a home were kind of alleviated, knowing that the home was new and some things were under warranty, appliances, and that I had the money to make sure if something did happen, we could take care of it right away. Some other reasons I thought it was really important to get a realtor is to help you through the process. There were so many things that I thought I knew about buying a house just because I had previously worked with someone, and I talked to friends, talked to different people, and researched some things on my own. However, there's a lot of things that I didn't consider. So having her as my realtor really helped me out, understanding the process and the things that we had to do as far as the house was concerned. Walking through the home, outside of the inspections and the appraisals, just making sure it was something that I wanted, and was able to negotiate back and forth with the seller and the people who were selling the house, plus their selling agent, and really understanding some of the nitty-gritty parts of the process. All right, so the financing. So now we have found the house. I go back to Navy Federal and I say, hey, I found the house that I want. This is how much it is, and I'm gonna go for it. So we draft up the paperwork that they need. They put it into this portal. So let me tell you about the portal that they have. It's called Home something. I probably should have looked it up. I'll leave it in the comments, but or in the description. It was really easy to navigate and to put in all the information that I had. So I was able to link my bank account so they could see my bank account. I had to upload like my employment verification letter. So my company, I'm a salary employee, and I have like a yearly rate and an annual rate that I'm paid. And there's a letter that says this is her annual rate and that she is still employed as of this date, and uploaded that. And we only would have needed to do it every 30 days, but because I bought the house in under 30 days, I only needed to provide the information one time. So from there, I was able to negotiate with the seller, with which is called a due diligence, to say, hey, let's go under contract. I'm serious about buying this home. So I put down the amount that I needed to, that after me and my realtor talked, she said, hey, this is a good amount to put down. So we put that down. It was like $2,000. And we took the check to the realtor, the selling agent rather. And from there, we took there was another earnest money that we took to the lawyer's office. The lawyer drafts up all of the paperwork to make it legal. They do all of the research with the title and the deed of the home. They make sure no one else owns the home. They're not in foreclosure or some other status that they're not aware of. So the lawyer does quite a bit of background work themselves. So we paid the lawyer right up front earnest money that same Monday after we went under contract. Like I said, we looked at the house Thursday. Friday, I said, okay, I want it. Friday night, they were like, okay, cool, you can do it. Monday morning, we dropped the check off, and then, or the two checks, right, to the seller, and then to the lawyer's office. And then from there, it was just all, stuff with the bank. From there, there were some documents I had to review. There was a lot of reviewing the documents they had versus a bunch of documents that I had to provide. I didn't have to provide a lot of things. Technology is pretty cool nowadays. And they were able to link to my accounts. They had already pulled my credit for the pre-qualification. And they didn't bother. Now, I didn't do any of the things, how they tell you, don't open anything new, don't do anything new, make sure you're, caught up on your bills. But I didn't have perfect credit. So I will say that. Don't let your credit be in the way of you at least asking to say, hey, I'm interested. Like I said, I went through Navy Federal and I used my VA loan. So because I used my VA loan, I had to go through VA eligibility. Because I already get disability benefits from the VA, it was, already in the system. So it wasn't much I had to do, but my name has changed over the years, due to marriages and divorces. And I had to make sure that my information was updated. So I had to submit like my divorce decree or, declaration to the VA that proved that, that was my maiden name and now this is my last name. But that was really it. They handled the scheduling of the appraiser. The appraiser came out to the house and they appraised it. It was appraised at about $20,000 over what I purchased it for. So I was really happy about that. So I came into the home with some equity. Meaning that the house was worth more than I paid for it. So if I have to do a loan or if I have to, sell it, I could sell it at higher than I purchased it for because that is the, appraised value of the home. So from there, it became very easy. It was just more or less checking out the house. Now we're antsy. Now we're ready. We're kind of 2 weeks into November. We're still doing paperwork, talking to Navy Federal. First they assign like a loan agent, and then they assign someone to kind of really handhold you through the process. We were talking almost every day to make sure that I had the paperwork that they needed, that I had the money, in the right place at the right time, or cashier's checks or whatever we needed to do. There came to a point where we did the inspection. So the inspection. So my oldest son and I came out to the house at the same time. So we had to schedule the inspection, which was something my realtor helped me with. She was like, here's, the inspector that we use, and they're certified to do VA inspections. So we went with them and they were awesome. We walked through every single detail of the house. We turned on all the faucets. We ran all the appliances. Turned on all the light switches. He walked the entire exterior of the home. He got into the attic. Like, he looked at every single detail and he made note of all of the details. And there were some things that we found that could have, had some work or probably needed fixing before we bought the house. So we put that stuff into the contract that we sent back to them. It was like an amendment to the contract. So in regards to the repairs that I deemed needed to happen in order for me to buy the house, they said basically they weren't going to do the repairs. So I was like, okay, well, give me a second. So I had a couple of estimates done on the things that I needed done and then went back to the seller and was like, hey, this is the stuff that I need to get done based on the things that are wrong with the house as is. So we're going to take that off or whatever. But this is what it's going to take. You're going to have to comp me for that. So I'm working with the seller and working with my realtor. We made sure that happened. So I got everything that I asked for in the home, and I was able to turn right around. As soon as we bought it, I was able to do the quick repairs that needed to be done for my own satisfaction. So, one thing to make sure you use the money for the things that you said you're going to do. Make sure you do that. So that way you're not, biting that bullet in the long run. Let's see, what else? If there were some things I were to tell you about the process, is to be patient. There is a lot of paperwork involved. There's so much that goes into all of the things. So at the same time that we're buying a house, we still have to move out of the home we're in, right? So I have to coordinate all of the moving. We have to pack. We packed our truck and my friend's truck. We got a trailer. We got all kinds of stuff. And we took probably 10 trips. There's probably 23, 24 miles between my old house and the new house, or the apartment rather, old apartment, whatever. And here, it was very, very interesting. But we got it done, right? We got it done. We got some friends. So it wasn't as painful as it could have been. So from there, we're packing the home. Everything is done. This is like the 21st, the 22nd. The 22nd is when we closed. Now, mind you, Navy Federal had all this paperwork already done. So I had already seen every single thing that the lawyer office now has. So I get to the lawyer's office about 2:00 that day. The truck is outside with the trailer on the back, and sign all the paperwork. I got a really cool, oh, there's Jalen. I got a really cool, coffee pot. Like, they give you gifts when you buy a house. I thought that was really dope. Another really cool thing about getting a realtor, because they treat you really good. But, so yeah, that day and that weekend we packed, and I still had some time in the apartment, so we didn't have to really rush. Again, that was, more patience. Taking the time that I needed. I had to get myself out of the apartment really quickly. I had, about 2 weeks. So, that first week I'm very, get things done kind of person. So we made sure everything was out, and then I went back and cleaned, and we were all good. And, so yeah, that is how I bought a house in 30 days.